In my face, drink in my cup, hand in my jeans. Man talk tough, man look up, down, left, right, straight to a bang in the teeth. Man still talk tough, man so man in the flesh now. Man tryna talk to my G's now, none of that. None 45 drum, run you right out your street.
Walk in the dance, chicks wanna glance, hand on my hip, shank for the dip. If I shout, oi, then man, they best skip. Better tie up your laces tight and don't.
Yo, what is up, Click21? Welcome back to another video, guys. Today, this is going to be a quick update, letting you know what I'm running right now as we get ready for Vanguard, right? Vanguard is in a few days. Shout out to all my Patreon members. We will be rolling tomorrow the 4 copies of Vanguard. We will be going live here on YouTube to let all you know who are the 4 winners from my Patreon. Anyone that's a member of my Patreon, you will have a chance to win a copy of this Vanguard. And if you don't want it, we will also give you $60 instead. You know, if you already have Vanguard, that's great, guys. You can go ahead and take the $60. I can send you through Cash App. But anyway, for this video, guys, I'm going to show you which script I'm going to be using, what my aim assist settings are, all that great stuff that I found so far leading up to Vanguard, what works the best, what you should be using to get you ready for this Vanguard launch. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Guys, before we jump into the video, of course you all know about my Patreon. Just like I said, we'll be rolling 4 copies of Vanguard or $60 tomorrow here live on YouTube, so make sure you stay tuned for that. If you're a member of my Patreon, the hundreds of people, you will all be entered, all have a fair chance of winning a copy of Vanguard. I will also send you $60 if you do not want the copy, or a lot of people probably just going to prefer the $60 so they can buy it themselves anyway. So that's the way we'll do it tomorrow here live on YouTube. If you need help on Patreon, I'm just now starting to get caught up from when I was in the hospital last week. I've been waiting for Vanguard so we can go ahead and add a lot more of these spreadsheets and stuff like that. This is what we've been waiting on, guys. This is where it's going to take off from here. November on, it's going to be absolutely nuts. So if you're interested, if you need help setting up your Cronus, all that good stuff, go ahead and join the Patreon. No pressure at all. You being here watching this video is more than enough. And of course, if you want to protect yourself against all these DDoS attacks that are going on, if you want to play in different countries and servers around the world, go ahead and try NordVPN, guys. The link to this will be in the description below. 30-day money-back guarantee, fastest VPN on the market. It can also help bypass some of that skill-based matchmaking, so definitely give it a shot. If you're not interested, like I said, after 30 days, you can go ahead and cancel it and get your money back. There's no risk there. So I will drop the link to both of these in the description below, all right? So as everyone knows, Vanguard is coming out, guys. We are only a couple days away. I think it's Thursday or Friday. I don't even know what day it is. My days are all mixed up, but that's okay. Pretty sure it's coming out on Friday, if not like Thursday midnight, which is technically Friday anyway. So what I wanted to do in this video, guys, is basically show you, get you ready for Vanguard, what I'm going to be using right off the rip in Vanguard, what you should probably be using right off the rip, and then of course as these things update and as these things change, we'll go ahead and change it as new scripts and game packs come along, right? So now what we're going to do, guys, basically we're going to break it down into 2 sections. Now if you wanted to use a script, and then if you wanted to use a game pack. Of course, there's only 1 game pack for Vanguard right now, so we'll go ahead and throw that on the Cronus, and I'll kind of break it down real quick, and then I'll show you which script I'm going to be using in Vanguard as soon as it launches, and maybe which one you should be using as well. Now of course all this stuff is fluid, it does change, so make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. You can come back and get these updates as they become available, because this stuff is fluid. It always changes as guns change, recoil values change, and all that good stuff. So anyway, guys, let's go ahead and jump into this Call of Duty Vanguard game pack. I'm just going to kind of break it down, kind of show you what my settings are for it so far. Now, of course, when Vanguard comes out, Warzone won't change a whole lot, but if you're playing Vanguard multiplayer, you might have to change these values a little bit. Of course, because we haven't been able to test a lot of this stuff with certain attachments and things like that, so some of this stuff is going to change obviously when we get into multiplayer in Vanguard, but for Warzone it should pretty much stay the same. So first, looking at the Vanguard pack, guys, there's nothing that you really need to see that's going to be, there's nothing that you're going to see that's totally different from all the other game packs like your pro pack and everything like that. You're still going to match all these to your in-game settings, what you play on, not what I play on, guys. So for me, it's default layout. Dead zone for me is 6 Be patient. This pack might be a little buggy at first, but we don't know how well it is going to work until we get Vanguard and use it in multiplayer, or even Warzone in the Pacific map, or whatever they're calling it, Warzone Pacific. I don't even know what that's going to be honest, but we will find out, right? So match all these to your in-game settings. Dead zone for me is 0.06 in the game. It's going to be 6 here, 7.7 sensitivity, just like you do with all your packs. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and check some of my previous videos. It shows you how to change all this. We break it down. It's not much different from this pack right here. You want to leave this on standard. That's what they recommend to do, just so you get the best aim assist, and you can still play on it in the game if you want to play in linear or hybrid or whatever, or linear or whatever you play on. I don't know why I said hybrid, but anyway, leave it on standard in the pack, and then of course you can play on whatever you want in the game itself. All right, block in-game rumble for me, of course I want it enabled. I do not want my controller vibrating when I'm in the middle of a fight, so we're gonna go ahead and enable that. And of course anti-recoil, we're gonna go ahead and just do enabled for now. So pretty much, let's scroll on down. I'm gonna leave this on enabled for anti-recoil. Of course you could try hybrid if you want to, totally up to you. Now of course this is where it gets into all your different weapon profiles and stuff like that. We can't really get into the recoil yet until we find out what the meta is. I'm not gonna cover some guns that's not gonna be relative, and I'll be honest, probably the grab is probably not gonna be that great if they already released it. They're gonna save their meta guns for release day, right? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna kind of leave this up around 5 or 6 is what I usually do, and go -1. This will kind of give you a good baseline. This is just for your floor loot. And then of course, once we get the weapons that we want, we figure out what we want to use, then we'll go ahead and change this accordingly. So stay tuned for those videos. As soon as we figure out what the meta is, you best believe we're going to be right on it, and we're going to be updating this pack, right? Now I will say, setting up this pack, it is a little buggy. It is still in beta, right? It's not the official version yet. You can still use it. You can try it out. So I'll get into the script in just a minute on what I'm using. I'm not going to get too much into the script because I've already released these aim assist settings already, which you can go in a previous video on that. So, but I will go ahead and show you the aim assist settings I'm using for this pack right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave the recoil around 6, -1. That's a good baseline for your ground loot weapon. Of course, some guns are going to shoot up a little higher, some are going to shoot lower. There's not really a way to set it up for ground loot, the weapon AI, unless you set up, you know, 6 different profiles or 5 different profiles, and you only pick up those 5 weapons, which, you know, in some cases is just impossible, right? So that's why I always just kind of set it up as 6 and -1, just to kind of get some kind of anti-recoil. It's not going to be perfect, but then when you get your loadout and you figure out which weapons you want to use, that's when we can really tone it down to whatever specific weapons you're using that are going to work the best, right? All right, now your secondary, of course, always go a little bit stronger. SMGs tend to get a little bit higher recoil, so we're gonna go ahead, and right now they only have a few weapons, as you can see here, so I'm gonna leave it on regular fire until we figure out, like I said, which weapons we're gonna be using, and then I'll usually go up to around 8 or 9, and then -1 as well. Always go around -1 for the horizontal, because your guns always shoot up and to the right, I think, a little bit. Horizontal recoil is not that crazy. You want to really get that vertical recoil strong enough that way the aim assist will kick in, right? All right, so we're not going to jump into the rest of the profiles yet, just because we don't know which guns we're going to be using. We'll go by meta as it changes, so stay tuned for all that, and then we'll throw in some new guns and stuff like that in the meantime as we go along. All right, the next thing you need to do, make sure you switch this to automatic for your weapon profile switch method, so that way it can determine, you know, whether you have your secondary or your primary out. And then aim assist, we're going to go ahead and enable that, of course. Now, some people don't play with the aim assist. I will say a lot of Twitch streamers you probably watch don't use the aim assist on their Cronus. Yes, they're using a Cronus. A lot of them won't admit it. They're just using it for their recoil or slide cancel. So we're going to go ahead and enable it, and I'm going to show you what I'm using so far going into Vanguard with this pack. Of course, like I said, as they update this pack and as we use different guns, this might change a little bit, and I'll update you guys, right? It's not a whole lot different if you're using some of the old Essentials pack or any of the Season 5 or Season 6 pack. It's still using your bad sticky aim assist type, which is pretty much a lot better improvement over the old packs with the Pro packs and stuff like that. But there are more steps and stuff like that, no pun intended, that you can change within this aim assist, right? So what I'm going to do, go ahead and I'm going to turn the ADS strength. This all determines on how good your tracking is, guys. I like to turn mine down to about a 14. Because my tracking is pretty good already, I don't want it to shake too much or have too big of a circle, kind of like your radius. So I always turn the ADS strength down a little bit, and then your ADS strength, I turn it up by 1 or 2. That way, once you start to shoot, it'll snap a little bit faster, right? Now, moving on to steps, and if you're not familiar with what steps means, you haven't watched all of my videos or watched them all the way through. Basically, what steps is, whenever you talk about the strength, is how big of the circle is when it comes to your aim assist, right? Aim assist basically, it kind of does a circular motion, and then it kind of has a bigger radius depending on what strength you use. Now for the steps is how fast that circle is moving. Whenever you're aiming at a target, it's doing that circular motion, but what it means is the steps is how fast it's moving within that circular motion, right? So this is pretty much as high as you can tolerate it without it going too crazy. You don't want it to go too fast, obviously, because pulling off targets and stuff like that, it's not gonna feel smooth, right? So a lot of times ADS steps, I usually leave it about where it's at, nothing wrong with that. Fire steps, this is your hip fire, right? So you want this a little bit higher in my opinion, so I usually go up to about a 10, just because when you're hip firing, you want to be able to snap onto one target to another. You're in close range, you want it to be a little bit stronger. So this is the aim assist I'm using with this pack. I'll keep this in mind. It did freeze up a couple times playing with this pack. It is in beta right now. It's not fully released. So always keep that in mind when you're trying this pack out. A lot of people might say it might suck, but once they update this pack, this has a lot more potential. This is probably the pack that I'm using with the Vanguard release, of course, and then I'll show you which script I'm using in just a second. Alright, anything else in this pack, you don't really need to change a whole lot. If you're playing multiplayer, you can turn on some of these like jump shots and drop shots and stuff like that. Totally up to you guys. I wouldn't recommend them in Warzone though. And of course, strafe shot and all that stuff, that's really just for multiplayer. I wouldn't mess with them if you're playing in Warzone. Otherwise, you're just going to be bunny hopping while you shoot, which can be very, very annoying. And then of course, shot mod activator. It's totally up to you guys. I don't really mess with that. Quick scope, only really good for multiplayer unless you're super nasty when you're aiming in on somebody. So we'll keep that off for now. Sniper breath, I always enable that because if you are sniping, you want it to automatically hold your breath. So definitely leave that on if you like to snipe, which a lot of people are right now with the Swiss and then the OTS-9. So that's a good option to have. Slide cancel is a must if you're not using it already. That is your biggest mistake by far. So definitely turn slide cancel on. Turbo melee doesn't hurt, especially off the rip if you're trying to melee people. Just hold it down, it's going to melee as fast as you can. Bunny hop, you can go ahead and turn this on if you want. Definitely don't really recommend it in Warzone. Totally up to you guys. Try it out, see how you like it. But it's kind of annoying if you're slide canceling. I don't really prefer it, so I'm going to leave it off. Gyro boost, I definitely leave that disabled. That's if you move your controller left or right and stuff like that. It's just kind of confusing. It can be very annoying, especially if you move around a lot when you play. All right. Hair triggers gives you that 10%, I think, extra boost where you only have to pull the triggers down by 10% less to get that gun to fire. So I will go ahead and enable. So that pretty much covers this pack. I'm going to leave y'all with some gameplay after I show you which script I'm using going into Vanguard. These are going to be what I'm using going into Vanguard as far as one script goes and one game pack goes. I only really use one script or one game pack at a time. I don't really have multiple scripts or multiple game packs on the Cronus, right? All right, so let's go ahead and save that game pack. I'll show you which script I'm using, and then I'll leave y'all with some gameplay, all right? So while that's saving, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and give you a few seconds. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that sub button. It's good to be back. I appreciate all the love and support. It has been a rough month and a half. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was in the hospital. We had a move which didn't go planned as we wanted to with the internet and everything. Just a lot of issues. It's pushed us back a little bit, but it's okay, guys. We are back now. I'm ready to grind for you guys. We're gonna be coming out with a lot of great content coming up. I can't wait, not just on Warzone, but on FIFA once they get a pack out. 2K if they'll let us, if they don't take down the videos. Battlefield, Halo, you name it, boys. It's going to be lit. And I can't wait to start uploading all this new stuff to the Patreon. I have been waiting for Vanguard for all this new stuff to be released. So I appreciate all love and support through these difficult times. It's good to be back. I'm finally starting to feel myself. Finally settled in. We're ready to grind and get on it. But the script we're going to be using in Vanguard as it is released is the Pro Aim V6. And the main reason behind this is because of the Cronus aim. I just prefer the sticky aim. Maybe it's because I am on PC more than I am on console. Now, if you're on console, you might like the Cypher script a little bit more. But for me on PC, I am going with the Pro Aim V6 by Private James and Grimy. Now, of course, if you want these aim assist settings, go ahead and tune into my previous video. I'll throw a card up during this video if you want to link to it, so that way you can check it out and check out those aim assist settings that I'm using with this script. Now, of course, this will change as we get new guns released, and just keep in mind as well, if you're looking for all the new guns, a lot of these scripts are going to take time to update it with the new guns. So the best way to go about it, if you want to use the new guns right away and get absolutely zero recoil, is going to be using the Call of Duty Vanguard pack. They are going to add the guns probably the quickest when it comes to all these new weapons. So keep that in mind. work on your aim assist. If it's not what I use, make sure you get this down pat. If you need help, let me know. Make sure you join the Discord, follow me on Twitter, all that good stuff, so I can help you out. But this is going to be what updates probably the fastest when it comes to these new weapons. And then once they kind of catch up, then you'll start to see these scripts start adding these new weapons as well. But in the meantime, for the scripts, the most important thing is you get your aim assist down pat, and then a lot of times the recoil comes secondary. So what I'll usually do is start out at a vertical around 30 and then horizontal at -1, and that pretty much kind of gives you that good baseline for all your weapons. And then as long as you have your aim assist nailed down, you won't really have to worry about the recoil as much, right? So this is the script I'm using. This is the pack I would be using going into Vanguard. I can't wait for the launch. We're going to be doing a lot of great stuff, probably some live streams and stuff like that on the night that it comes out. Can't wait to share all this new stuff with you guys. I appreciate all love and support. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that sub button one more time. Join the Patreon if you need help. Join my Discord. Follow me on Twitter. It's the best way to get a hold of me. Appreciate each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. You guys mean a lot to me. We will see you on the next video. I'm going to leave you with some gameplay, and I'm going to take off from here. We'll see ya. Deuces.
You figure it out? Wait, they're behind me, behind me. Clark, aka Pepper Jack. Thanks. Yeah, right.
Oh! Ah, you suck! Suck too! Yo, who's standing there?
Enemy UAV overhead. Enemy soldier incoming. Enemy dropping into the AO. Enemy soldier incoming. Enemy soldier incoming.
One more, let's go.
Enemy dropping into the AO. Friendly UAV overhead. Speed boost. Got the lead.